This is a quick one, but it's pretty important. It's really, really bad. I don't like it at all. Look at this. Google will start deleting inactive accounts after 2 years. Um, it's look, why? Well, probably to save on storage space. YouTube videos will stay up. So they have confirmed that YouTube videos will stay up. Can you find me a link that confirms that? They said they would keep accounts that have uploaded videos. Okay, gotcha. I think that's good. I think that's a very positive step. I don't know. There's something about the fragility of content kept online that really bothers me. So you say the YouTube videos be kept. Okay, well that's essential because you can only imagine how much history would be lost if all that stuff was taken away. I'll say, just imagine going to jail for 2 years and coming out and finding that like your Google account is gone and all your connected stuff is all gone. This is this is kind of an unavoidable problem because storage space is physical, right? Like you know, it goes on hard drives. It's not like magic. Everything that you keep is kept. It costs money to maintain, to preserve. But how do you guys think this should be done? Okay, let me ask you guys a question. And yes, this is the segment. Imagine it is not financially viable to keep all the data. What conditions, what circumstances, how? Keeping accounts doesn't cost shit compared to other stuff. Well, in this case, I wonder if the reason they want to get rid of the accounts is because people are running out of emails. Like you can always add more numbers after your name or whatever, but maybe they did like an internal check and it's like, oh, actually, well, 78% of all accounts haven't been used in like 7 years or something, you know? I don't know. I've always had difficulty with that because a lot of it can't really be fixed, you know? Did you know that I think it's about 3/4 of all movies made from the silent era no longer exist? No, I think it's more than 3/4, like something like 9/10 of all movies made from the silent era of film just don't exist anymore. I mean, they were burnt by light onto a photosensitive crystal that's kept on film. It's a physical thing. Once that's lost or damaged, that's that. A lot of them were improperly stored, some of them were deliberately trashed. You can't keep everything, right? Not every drawing your child makes that you put on the fridge, you know, multiply that by 1 trillion, can be kept on that fridge. Sometimes stuff has to be put away. Sometimes there's not enough storage room in the world. But I have difficulty like reconciling that. This is one of the reasons why archiving is so important, why the lawsuit against the Internet Archive is so um, terrible, I think. You know, and even once you've digitized everything, digital space still takes space, right? Like that's not it's still not always present. It goes away sometimes. Keep in mind this is how things have been for pretty much all of human history. Nothing gets to stay around forever, you know? Like we're our lives are temporary, the countries we live in are temporary, the people we know are temporary, our species on the long timeline, you know, will be temporary. There's no guarantee that every movie ever made, every game ever made gets to be an infinite like cosmic data point that will exist forever. But I think there are things we can do reasonably, you know, to protect what we care about now. And I don't know. Interestingly, Google Photos seems to have its own separate activity metrics that could result in only your photos being deleted. Photos require visiting the Google Photos app or website or uploading a photo every 2 years. Wow. Okay, so apparently logging in and checking your email isn't enough to get your attached Google Photos. So that's probably one of the things they want to get rid of, right? Stored data. Like there's probably like so many terabytes of data. I don't know. I don't really know how much. I think they're doing it for security reasons. Security reasons. According to Google, those inactive accounts are more likely to be compromised. They may use old, outdated passwords that have since been. Ah, I see. So what they're saying is it's like uh, well, even if all this data is accessed, I think people would rather have their accounts cracked than they would lose their account. Is it like a botnet thing? Like if these accounts get cracked, they could be taken over, and they worry about there being like trillions of fucking zombie accounts that are. Um, Google has to deal with the spam though. Wouldn't it be better then to actually mandate two-factor authentication? Wouldn't that be better? Like, imagine you could set like, okay, we are now setting like a like 1 year timeline on 2FA. Like you need to within 1 year, because you hate that though. No, I don't hate that. I can't stand 2FA. I mean, maybe it requires a phone to use their 2FA. Yeah, I guess. One big thing Google is going to do is do a massive operation to convert all their stored video to AV1 encoding. It'll drop the overall storage usage by about 40%. The downside is we're all going to need to get cards that can do AV1 encoding to be allowed to upload/stream. Well, that's annoying, but I mean, whatever. I'll get it when it comes out. Wouldn't there need to be a data breach for some hacker guy to know what accounts are inactive? Yeah, but there are probably literally like tens of millions of Google accounts that have been breached at this point, or whose passwords and data are out there in the open because they've been breached on some other website with a data leak, and it wouldn't be that difficult to like use a botnet to like try those out on Google accounts as well. Well, that's nice, Raiders. I don't know. Have you ever looked at the dead people's Twitter accounts getting deleted discourse and thought about how a decade ago everyone thought it'd be kind of creepy to have those profiles around like gravestones? Yeah, given a long enough timeline, more and more of the social media space will begin to resemble a graveyard because people die and their accounts stay up. But I don't know what the ideal is. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you could like take inactive accounts or accounts from dead people and like move them onto like an archived subsection of the site so that they're not. I have no idea. It's too big of a problem for me to really wrap my head around. I don't know. I don't know what you could do to fix that. Yeah, like a literal social media graveyard. The deleting will begin in December 2023. Facebook already has a way to deal with this. Pages can be flagged as memorials. That sounds nice. I mean, I think that sounds reasonable. It makes sense because Facebook is both huge and also has a large elderly population, meaning that there would probably be like a disproportionate number of old dead people. Well, not old anymore, I guess. Dead people there. What would you want to happen to your channel after you die? Well, I'd like it just to be kept up as it is, ideally. Um, I don't think I'd want anything to happen to it. There are still YouTube channels that haven't made videos in a long time that I occasionally go back and look at. Like Joseph Anderson. um, I remember there was this one. I remember there was this one. Total Biscuit, a Technoblade. Does anyone remember? They made Kaizo Mario ROM hack videos. They played a couple of Brawl matches back when Super Smash Bros. Brawl was the main Smash game. This was back in like 2008. I mean, this was like a long time ago. Who would inherit the ad revenue? I mean, assuming I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure there's a number of ways that could. Yeah. No, I did not know Technoblade personally. Just a weird problem. I think there's kind of a big cultural difference between Americans and Europeans on this, I feel like. When I grew up in Los Angeles, so Los Angeles bulldozes over the past, like all the time. It's really difficult to find a graveyard in LA because they're constantly just like rebuilding the city. There's very little history in LA. If you go over to the East Coast, there's a lot more history. Um, There are old church steeples and graveyards and big worn brick buildings that look like they're sagging under their own weight, and little plaques and memorials that are from a bygone era, and gravestones that are so worn you can't even see what was written on them. And then if you go to like the United Kingdom, it's like that times 10, because Europeans have only been in America for like 270 years. They've been over there for thousands. Yes, I did, Araxiel. Good call. So you go over to the UK and like you can go to a pub that has been there since like 600 years ago, you know? You can just go around and just see stuff, and there are graveyards there that aren't even like functional graveyards anymore. They're just stone stalagmites popping up out of the ground with moss over them. There's no, you can hear stories when you walk down the street, like, oh, well, oh yeah, this building right here, well, the king's procession came through here in 1347, that he did, took a point here, then kept on moving, that's right. And it's like, oh, that wooden bench right there that they keep in the corner with like little velvet, little like velvet ropes to block it off from everyone else. The king sat there. Like the king sat there 700 years ago. That's kind of cool, a little, but just like in a historical sense, like, I don't know, it's interesting. I live close to this. The Grianan of Ailech. That's a Gaelic name, if ever I've heard one. Yeah, just like a fort, like battle, 12th century. Like, look at this. National Monument of Ireland. God damn, that's beautiful. Yeah, America doesn't really have stuff like this. I wonder if your anxiety about the preservation of online material is in any way influenced by whether or not you grew up in an area that had history or not. You know what I mean? Like if you live in an area where history is all around you versus living in an area where they do everything possible to keep it from ever catching up with you. I wonder if that makes a difference. Damn, that statement hurt. Really? Oh, I'm not trying to be like, look at this. The French catacombs. Like all the time that you're in Paris. It's like, oh yeah, we're actually above like a gigantic infinite maze of human bones. Don't go in there, you'll get lost. It's pretty wild. This doesn't exist in America. Look at this. They built the fucking bone orb. Seattle Underground does, though. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, the West Coast is so new, at least from a Eurocentric standpoint, that the Seattle Underground, to me, does feel like this crazy, like, glimpse into history. Basically, it's like a dilapidated, abandoned undercity from about a century ago that's underneath most of downtown. You're directly underneath the above sidewalks whenever you're here. Basically, just imagine that the first floor of a city got built over. You can see, like, bank vaults and stuff walking around. And light is provided to them from these purple-tinted skylights that people are walking over. Which you can see when you're walking, because, they're on the sidewalks. Does this not ever cause sinkholes? Nope, they built it pretty well.